Have you ever noticed that the politics industry benefits politicians and their entourages and parties and not the citizens? That problems aren't solved? But the system isn't broken, it's designed that way. No, it's not the constitutional design. The parties have added rules in the last 50 years. The two parties are classic duopoly, advancing their interests and keeping out competition instead of working for the people. That's the analysis of this book out of the Harvard Business School, The Politics Industry by Katherine Gehl and Michael Porter. It's an eye-opener that will unfortunately verify your worst fears about how the system really works. But there's hope. They have a solution. Here are some highlights. The rules are not meant to serve the public. The rules are designed to maintain the duopoly. The Republican and Democrat parties themselves and the political industrial complex of politicians, lobbyists, donors, pollsters, partisan think tanks, consultants in PR, social media, data analysis, etc. As far as they're concerned, the system isn't broken, it's working great, and it's extremely profitable. The rules provide incentives to constantly fight rather than work across the aisle to solve problems. It's like two arms manufacturers, each selling weapons to one side in a war and cooperating to prevent any truce. One problem is the lack of competition. Third parties and independents, even if they don't win, could provide competition that would at least force our problems to be addressed. Ross Perot did this in the 1992 election, focusing his campaign on the budget deficit. This forced Clinton and the Republican Congress to adopt a balanced budget. We actually had a surplus for a while. But oh no, the duopoly hates competition. That would cut into its profits. The duopoly controls partisan primaries that exclude third parties and independents. Sore loser laws in most states keep Republicans or Democrats from running as an independent if they lose a primary. National political parties are allowed much higher donations than independents, and the duopoly controls presidential debates and doesn't allow third parties or independents. Ross Perot was shut out the next time. The parties established plurality voting rules which cause third parties and independents to be cast as spoilers. Plurality voting, by the way, means whoever gets the most votes wins, even if not a majority of the votes. There is no runoff, we have minority rule. Trump won primaries with 30% of the vote when 70% wanted anyone else. It's not just the election rules. Bills supported by a bipartisan majority in Congress can't even get a vote because the rules allow the leader of the party in control to block it. All these rules have some nasty side effects which also hurt the parties themselves. The partisan primaries and plurality voting encourage primary challenges to anyone reasonable in Congress who dares to vote for partisan solutions. Most people don't vote in primaries. Mainly the most fervent partisans vote, resulting in extremist candidates getting elected. They are more extreme than the average voter. Thus, the parties have lost control of their own politicians. The good news is that the book proposes a simple, achievable solution. First, change the election laws by adopting top 5 open primaries and ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting is sometimes called instant runoff. Second, after more reasonable people are elected, they can then vote to change the rules of Congress. This two-step approach is how the progressive era reforms in the early 1900s were passed. Many other good reforms have been proposed, such as eliminating gerrymandering, controlling campaign finance, restricting lobbying, limiting voter suppression, etc., etc. However, the authors argue that these two changes, open primaries and ranked choice voting, will have the most impact and are the most achievable since they haven't been attacked as favoring one party over the other. Open primaries force candidates to appeal to all voters, not just extreme partisans. Top 5 gives more choices. With ranked choice voting, voters also rank their second and third choices. If no one has a majority, there's an instant runoff. The candidate with the fewest votes is eliminated, and the second choice votes of those voters are counted, giving a winner that a majority supports as either their first or second choice. Thus, candidates must broadly appeal to the majority of voters to get second place votes, rather than a divisive appeal to a minority of partisans. Each state can change the election rules under the Constitution. Some already have. Trump is trying to primary moderate Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska with one of his stooges because she had the audacity to put serving country over serving Trump. But Alaska was vaccinated against Trump in November 2020. It adopted top 4 open primaries and ranked choice voting. Maine adopted ranked choice voting in 2016. If only a handful of additional states adopt this, it would tip the balance of Congress. The first step, read this book.